Buddy, welcome to Game S Mornings with me, Jeff Grubb, your host from GiantBomb.com. Thank you for tuning in. In this episode, we're going to be talking about signs of life for Nintendo's next massive game, and Ubisoft cancels another sequel. It's going to be a good one because we have Rachel Kaser on the show. Rachel, how are you doing?
Hi, Jeff. I haven't seen you in forever.
Forever. It's been a long time. Glad we could get back on the show. We were talking yesterday. Well, we had one of your stories, and we're like, we should get Rachel back on the show. And then someone reminded me, and now here we are. I'm very excited about it. How have you been?
I was not privy to that conversation, so I just got a random blue sky
Uh-huh.
notification saying, "Hey, Jeff, put Rachel on the show," and I was like, "What?"
Yeah, blah. Yeah.
Congratulations on your purchase of Giant Bomb, by the way. I know I
Thank
said it
you.
when we were talking earlier, but I want to acknowledge it publicly. And as of this morning, I am also a member. I am a
Yeah.
subscriber of Giant Bomb, which means you
You
work for me now.
Oh, darn it. No. Yeah, Stu with the giantbomb.com/join. Thank you so much. Hey, congratulations on GameSpeed and everything that happened over there. You guys being able to go independent as well and got your own thing going. That's really, really cool. Really happy for you. Yeah,
I
tell
don't
the
know which
people.
one of us was copying the other at
I
that
know.
point.
No, I think you all were going first.
I
Tell,
blew up Mike's texts when I heard about that, and he was on the plane, I think, coming back from
yes.
Disney World, and I just he landed, he got like 5 texts from me all saying like, "Why didn't you tell me?"
Yeah, it's because he didn't know.
He didn't know.
Yep,
So he found
that's
out the same. So I think that might have been how he found out actually.
Yep, basically. Well, yeah, we talked to him earlier that day in that video. That's where he found out. Yeah, Rachel, tell people like what is going on with GamesBeat and like how it's been so far.
It's been great. We have gone independent from VentureBeat. So again, nothing, no drama there at all. By the way, just in case there's any confusion about that, we kind of like decided like, hey, we're family. Let's move out of the house. We're
Yeah.
still family. We still love them over there. And so now we are fully moved out on our own. We are out of the nest, and we just launched our GB Max subscription service, which is a subscription service that's largely aimed at the like top like the people who can afford to pay subscription services for our events, and get perks, like discounts on our ticket prices and exclusive stories. And so it's mostly for the business people in the games industry who
Hmm.
might want access to these fun stories and interviews. I just did one with Pierre Tarno from Slow Clap. So that was my first GB Max story. I was really proud of that.
Oh,
And I
really
got another
cool.
one. I've got another one coming out today with an interview I did with Digital Extremes
Awesome. That's
about the
fantastic.
about the 10th anniversary of TennoCon. And unrelated to the story, by the way, but I found out during that discussion that Sheldon Carter, who's the COO of Digital Extremes, worked on The Darkness too. So he could attest. And I actually, we spent like 5 minutes talking about Top Cow Comics, The Darkness, The Witchblade.
Hell yeah.
So do you have any idea how rare it is that I get to geek out about The Witchblade in an interview? It never happens.
Yeah, I would imagine not, but I'm glad that was able to happen. God, Witchblade was like this thing. It was always like, what is that going on over there? When I was a kid, that comic series, it was always everywhere in other comics. You'd see it advertised and things like that. I never ended up reading it. Big fan though, I'm assuming.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're on Discord right now. If you look at my Discord icon, that's the Witchblade.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Oh my God. Okay.
The
Fantastic.
classic Steven Sayek animated Witchblade. But I know a lot of people know the anime, but I was into like the weird comics when I was a kid because I thought I was too cool for Marvel and DC.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's the indie stuff for sure.
I I ran into a Vampirella cosplayer at a convention recently, and I turned into a 14-year-old girl in front of her. I swear. I was walking. I was like, I was such a big fan of the comics when I was a kid, and I'm so excited. And she was just holding my hands and telling me how cute I was, and it was like, I'm a 35-year-old woman, and I am a teenager right now. I'm
uh, th-
so awkward.
my understanding is you will usually see a Vampirella if you go to one of these Comic Cons. That seems to be
Oh yeah,
at least one. Usually, each one has at least one. But yeah, that
I'm
that
not
sounds
complaining.
fantastic. Yeah. Oh, no way. And then yeah, so the GB Max launched. I like the logo a lot. Congratulations. Glad you guys were able to get that off the ground. It sounds like it's just ideal for what you all do over there. So very, very cool.
Me and
Rich,
Dean and Mike, we're having fun over there. We're having so much fun getting to just like we're in the stage now where we're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Trying a bunch of ideas is always a really fun part of the process.
We are
All right.
cooking spaghetti over here.
Hell yeah. Let's explain what we do here. This is Giant Bomb. Go to giantbomb.com/join. You can help make this all happen. We are a crew of people who just try to make fun videos on the internet, fun video game podcasts. We try to be informative, and you can support all of that again by going to giantbomb.com/join. Become a premium member there. It gets you ad-free versions of the shows, gets you some other extra goodies. Really, though, goes a long way toward ensuring Giant Bomb can continue in the future. And that's exactly what we're aiming to do. As far as this show goes, most weekdays, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and maybe even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game S Mornings or find the RSS feed on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. All right, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with a release with the release expected soon. Sorry, I had the word "with" 2 times in a row, and that completely broke my brain. So let's do a break here and go.
It's okay.
With release news expected soon, Metroid Prime 4 has been rated. This is from Andy Robinson at VGC. Metroid Prime 4 has been rated by South Korea's classification board, suggesting release date news could arrive soon. According to a listing published on Friday, the Switch title has been rated for ages 12 and up due to mild violence. Metroid Prime 4 is due to release sometime this year for the original Nintendo Switch, according to the company, with an enhanced Switch 2 edition also planned. According to reports, Nintendo is planning to hold a Nintendo Direct stream imminently, which matches what VGC has heard from sources, where it's likely to announce an official release date for Prime 4. Okay, so Prime 4 getting rated, a great sign. To me, that doesn't necessarily mean we get the release date right away, but it does mean like we're within 6 weeks to like maybe, I don't know, 12 weeks for this game coming out.
I would be fine with that. Yeah.
Yes,
I'm tired of the wait. I'm tired of being teased. I want Metroid Prime 4 in my face, like now.
Yep, and that's the best case scenario. There's no guarantee for that. This
That's
could get rated now. Nintendo could hold on to it, and it could still come out late November, early December. But I'm choosing to treat this like as another reason to be hopeful that the direct that has been rumored now multiple times, repeatedly, is going to happen next week, and that one of the key pieces of information in that direct will be the release date for this game. And then because it's happening now, the release date can be 2 to 3 months out, and that would put us like September, October maybe. That would be really welcome.
I think they would want to have another good title to advertise when they're doing like the second resurgence of Switch 2 sales.
Yes.
Because they've already had their launch titles, and that's great and all. We've had Bonanza, but I think they're going to want more headliners to put out there when they're like, hey, Black Friday sales coming around, holiday sales are coming around. Buy a Switch 2, play this really awesome, highly rated game in this popular series. And for those who are just, for the young ones in the audience, like Metroid, you like Metroid Dread, so come over and play Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah,
So as a business strategy, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, and it's something that Nintendo's definitely done enough of before that lines up with the way that they might behave in a situation like this. I think it's just a little bit more noticeable and frustrating with Metroid Prime 4 because it is a game that has been announced for so long. You said it yourself, annoyed with the waiting. We are in this year that it's supposed to come out. They dropped a trailer back in March, Rachel, and we still don't have a release date. And it's a Switch 1 game, I think is the biggest sort of sticking point for me in my brain, where it's like, as we were leading up to the Switch 2, Rachel, I'm like, okay, so clearly they're going to get Metroid Prime 4 Beyond out before the Switch 2 launches, and then they'll have another version of the game ready to go for Switch 2 to take advantage of that. And none of that happened. And now they still have this game that they're insisting is a Switch 1 game. There is a Switch 2 enhanced version, sure. They're still treating it in a lot of ways like a Switch 1 game. And so, okay, how are you going to sort of thread that needle? And I don't think they're actually all that concerned with threading that needle. They just are going to go sell that game and expect people to buy it on Switch 2 if that's where they care about getting it.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to keep as long of a tail on the Switch, the original Switch, as some other companies who we won't mention have kept on their consoles, their older consoles. But I think They are I think Metroid Prime 4 is going to come in that area as well. But you're right. I mean, the fact that it was announced for Switch originally, you would think they're like, "Hey, here's the swan song of the Switch. This, the great last Switch game of this generation." That was the narrative that I built up in my head, but that was kind of what I was thinking when I thought Metroid Prime 4. It's like, okay, this is going to be the last great game to launch on the Switch. Maybe it still will be, but the fact that it will launch for both of the consoles simultaneously, I presume, then that does kind of dilute the message a little bit there, I think.
Yeah, and I think if this game comes out and it's really highly reviewed, it will be just this massive, also the massive thing that also moves a lot of Switch 2s, even though it is on Switch 1, and that'll be where people actually remember playing it the way it always happens with these cross-gen games. Yeah, people could have played Twilight Princess on GameCube, they played it on Wii, could have played Breath of the Wild on Wii U, although many people couldn't have because they didn't own a Wii U. But everyone remembers it on the Switch, obviously.
Right.
Now, there's a little bit more continuity between Switch 1 and Switch 2 than even the GameCube to the Wii, which is basically the same console. But it is still, it just feels like what you said there, right? Where the long tail of them trying to force the Switch 1 to stick around isn't going to happen. And so that won't force them in a situation where they try to manufacture reasons that the Switch 1 is still relevant or anything like that. I think Nintendo
I
will
don't
be
think
happy
so.
for the Switch 1 to kind of coast on its momentum. And there are obviously games still coming to Switch 1 next year, but all of those games will work on Switch 2. And
Yeah, that's what I'm saying for it.
none of the massive franchises from Nintendo are going to still be coming out on Switch 1. The ones that are
I don't
going
think
there
so.
are like Tomodachi Life and Rhythm Heaven. And
Mhm.
then one of the games that's allegedly rumored. Who can confirm it? I have no idea. I keep saying it, so I hope people don't think I don't know if it's going to be there. Animal Crossing. It's like if Animal Crossing gets announced, that will be a Switch 2 exclusive, as opposed to
Yeah.
Tomodachi Life, which came out on Switch 1, right?
Yeah, and I know we got Fire Emblem. We're getting Fire Emblem for Switch Online, but I'm still hoping for new Fire Emblem news on I will take it on Switch 2. I will accept it as a Switch 2 for Switch 2. But I don't think it's going to be a case of like we're still going to get Switch 1 games like into 2027 or anything like that. I think if we do it will be a curiosity at best.
Or it'll be a game that clearly has no need for the Switch 2's improved specs. It'll be
Yeah.
like we can put this on Switch 1. It can hit that audience, run exactly the same on Switch 2 without any issues, and people can buy it there if they want. Yeah, that still makes sense. That's at
Yeah.
this point, as we've
Or
got
if it's
over
been
the
in
hump,
development, yeah, for so long,
right?
for Switch 1 for so long that they're like, "Let's just launch it on the Switch anyway." I don't think it's gonna be a case like where we're still getting games on the PS4 and the Xbox One at this late stage in the game,
Yeah,
which I
definitely
know I
no.
said I wasn't gonna name names, but I'll name names. Also, I don't wanna sound really spoiled because, like, Prime Forum could be coming out soon. That's awesome! I don't wanna
Yeah,
immediately
we're
be
so
like,
lucky.
yeah, that's great. I don't wanna sound like I'm like, "Oh, finally," or anything like that. It's like, I'm entitled to this game being out ages ago, but yeah, so I'm excited that Metroid Prime 4 could be coming out, but, like, in a business sense, I'm, like, contemplating what's the most likely window where Nintendo is going to finally give me this game.
Yep, absolutely. I'm hoping it's not late November, early December, but who knows? All right. New next story. Ubisoft has reportedly canceled a sequel to Star Wars Outlaws. Not too surprising. This is from My Nintendo News. Video game journalist Tom Henderson is reporting in a new YouTube video that Ubisoft has recently canceled plans on a Star Wars Outlaws sequel. The decision to cancel the Star Wars Outlaws sequel was apparently based on lackluster sales of the original game, which Ubisoft hopes will change with the upcoming Nintendo Switch 2 release of the action-based Star Wars game. Um, yeah, I mean, once that game's fate was sealed in terms of its sales and the response. And even though they worked really hard to rescue that game,
Mhm.
it seemed like this was always going to be the case. There was never going to be a sequel to that game. They didn't really stand much of a chance. And hearing that they were even planning it and maybe working on it to some degree, uh, I guess maybe before it came out, they had really high hopes. Obviously, they had really high hopes, but all indicators pointed at this game was not going to perform the way it needed to, and then it really didn't.
Yeah.
So them canceling that game, I find that disappointing because specifically, Rachel, this felt like a game where the sequel would have been the exact game that people actually were looking for, where the
Yeah.
studio figured out the growing pains in game one. This happens all the time in gaming. Game one is pretty okay to good, and the second game just keeps all the good stuff, adds some other elements and really comes into its own. Assassin's Creed 2 is like the prime example there. And
Yeah.
I think that would have happened here, and then the game would have really worked. But the industry just doesn't seem like it's in a place for to put up with that, because making one of these games now, I think in the Assassin's Creed day, Assassin's Creed 1 probably took
Mhm.
a decent amount of time. It didn't
Yeah.
take 7 to 8 years, and now these games can take that long. And so the appetite for putting up with, we need to build a team that can make one game, kind of get used to each other, used to the processes, get used to the environment in which they're working, and then they can really nail it on round two. The industry just can't support that anymore, right? At least it doesn't feel like a
No.
Ubisoft can't, certainly.
No, Ubisoft definitely can't, and I almost feel like I think I kind of think that behind the scenes, the failure of Star Wars Outlaws was such a massive shock. I think it was just a huge shock to the industry because that should be a guaranteed winner. That should be a slam
Yeah,
dunk.
it's
And the
yeah,
fact
not
that it
anymore.
wasn't, it wasn't like that had to have been like seismic for the entire industry. And I think so and also you got to think about it from terms of like Disney as well. Like I'm sure when they negotiated with Disney, it was for multiple games and then Disney said, "Hey, the Star Wars Jedi franchise is doing much better. Maybe we should put our
Hmm.
put our chips on that slot instead, on that number instead of going in with this game that didn't really do very well, didn't really make a whole lot of return on investment, and also this company which doesn't seem to be this company that doesn't seem to be doing very well business wise, and not very long ago there was some speculation that Ubisoft wouldn't even be here in 7 to 8 years, which I don't want to curse anybody, so knock wood, but I'm sure from a business perspective, Ubisoft making another Star Wars game isn't attractive to Disney and probably not even Ubisoft at this point.
Yeah. Excuse me. Lazy Shoe in chat says, considering an 8-year-old Star Wars game is still cooking this year, puts the blame mostly on Ubisoft's rep. Yeah, I mean, Ubisoft clearly should take a lot of the blame, but also, like, Star Wars games are in a weird place. That 8-year-old game you're talking about, Lazy Shoe, was a disaster when it launched and for years following, and took a long time to fix. The other Star Wars game that's doing really well right now, The Old Republic, which had a huge boost to its subscription numbers, same thing. There's a pattern here where
Mhm.
Star Wars is such a big game, or such a big franchise, that the games have to be at a certain level of investment. People expect a certain level of production values, which means you're spending a lot of money, which means it's a very hard thing to deliver on and actually make good, because you have so many moving parts and it is so expensive, and it's hard to get that really shaped up into something that feels special. And people expect it to feel special because it's an important franchise and you're spending a lot of money, and it better be that good. And so when these games come out and they have anything wrong with them at all, not that these things aren't worth criticizing, they clearly have been for both of those games and a lot of other Star Wars games, the volume on that criticism gets turned up a lot, and that becomes the entire story. And I think, like, even in a, obviously that's not true for all Star Wars games. The Jedi games, as you pointed out there, they have been able to kind of get around this by just going for what they're going for. And maybe
Yeah.
that's where Star Wars games need to be. Like, have a studio that really knows what they're going for. Just do that, and don't try to make the biggest, like, AAA blockbuster games, like an open world Star Wars games that Outlaws was, as opposed to a Metroidvania style kind of FromSoft adventure game, which is going to be
Yeah.
a little bit more reduced in scale, like a Jedi Fallen Order game.
Yeah, I think it's that, and also, there's something weird that I've noticed with Star Wars games as well, where fans constantly want the same experience that they had with they don't want the same experience, but they want the same level of quality as like Knights of the Old Republic, the original Battlefront games. They yearn for these so much that I think it's very hard for new games to live up to them and still deliver on the like internal milestones that companies want with games these days. So I don't even like as we're discussing, I'm not even sure if Knights of the Old Republic, the remake, could live up to the nostalgia for
It's
Knights of
going to
the
be
Old
tough.
Republic at this point.
Yeah, it's
So
going to be tough, and people will notice anything that they don't like. Any changes will be, again, amplified because people put a magnifying lens to it.
yeah, like you said, like if there's anything wrong with the game whatsoever, they jump on it immediately. Which isn't to say that there's anything wrong. They should jump on that because they
Yep,
want
you're
a
allowed to,
certain
of
experience. They
course.
want a certain experience, and if they don't get it, I mean, especially for $70 these days, if you don't get what you want from the game, I think you're totally within your rights to complain about it because that is an
Yep.
astronomical amount of money to pay for what you don't want.
Yep. And like I think that is the point here is where people are allowed to feel this way and have this response. And Ubisoft, like a company like Ubisoft, it looks at that and goes, "Oh, well, that's too hard for us then, and we don't want to be in that business anymore." And
Yeah.
that's how they solve this problem. Instead of like, okay, well, let's make the next Star Wars Outlaws live up to expectations. We already made all this investment. Let's take that and apply it going forward. And it's like, no, it's too challenging actually. And you know, I worry a little bit if it's like, okay, can these big companies handle games like this going forward? I don't know, probably not. We're gonna just get fewer of them, and I think that's a bummer because I thought Outlaws was really okay
Yeah.
to good. Yeah, for me.
Yeah,
But
solid 7 out of 10 for
yes,
me.
yeah, really, a really good 7 out of 10. Where it's like it's doing a lot of other stuff that kind of it floats it a little bit on my personal scale, but as like an objective thing, as much as you could be objective, 7 out of 10 was definitely where that game landed. All right. What we're going to do now is we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, plenty of more headlines. If you want to skip this, if you're listening to the podcast version, you can always go to giantbomb.com/join, get the ad-free version. But because you didn't do that, we'll be back after this. This episode of Giant Bomb is brought to you by giantbomb.com/join. Join us there, become a member. It helps us make fun stuff. It gets you ad-free content. It also helps us make some extras here and there that we'll give exclusively to you as members. It's giantbomb.com/join for $10 a month or $100 a year where you save $20. You can support us in making all the cool stuff that we make over here at Giant Bomb. Once again, that's giantbomb.com/join. Become a member now. It's Game Mess Mornings. I'm Jeff Grubb. That's Rachel Kaser. We're getting back into the news with Clair Obscur devs visit Final Fantasy offices for a, quote, exchange of ideas. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. Clair Obscur Expedition 33 is one of the biggest surprise gaming hits of 2025 and a traditional turn-based role-playing game that reminded many fans of the golden age of PlayStation 1 JRPGs they still pine for. Some have even gone so far as to argue that the next Final Fantasy game should be more like Clair Obscur. Maybe Square Enix even agrees. The publisher recently invited the game's developers to its headquarters in Japan. Guillaume Abroche, Francois Meurice, and Tom Guillaume. Ah, man, a lot of fun saying names. From Sandfall and Alexis Garivaran from Kepler, creators of Expedition 33, visited the Square Enix offices for a creatively rich exchange of visions and ideas. That's according to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth director Naoki Hamaguchi. And they wrote that on social media. Okay, they also apparently this team also visited Hideo Kojima. They were out there and visited him at the same time. So
If you're going to be in Japan, might as well visit Kojima.
you might as well do a little bit of the tour. And you know, they're a big part of that is these companies are very welcoming and like, well, they always want to make people feel homey and they'll feel like, hey, yeah, you should come in. We could talk. Of course, that's their culture for sure. But a big part of it is, I think this is a team that has a lot of eyes on it, a lot of curiosity. It reminds me a little bit of the Undertale developer, is Toby Fox. When like he popped off. A lot of Japanese developers were like, we love your game. Come out here. We want to talk to you. We want to work with you. They just get the reality is I think a lot of Japanese development studios are full of fanboys who just love what they love. And they want to, like, when they see a person doing something that they're into, no matter where they are, they want to talk to them. And I think that's a good sign for Square Enix, Final Fantasy, and Clair Obscur. Kind of mix that all together. I really, Rachel, think that's what fans of Final Fantasy want for the next game to be more like Clair Obscur. Do you think this is evidence that is a hopeful reality?
Well, I mean, where would the next Final Fantasy 17, let's just call it, where would that be in development now? It'd probably be in like deep in production.
Yeah,
I'm
it'd
trying
be
to think
like
like
middle
where they
production at least. Yeah, for
middle
sure.
production, yeah. So if I'm gonna say that we're probably past the concept document phase, but I'm gonna guess that probably somebody on the team also wants it to be a turn-based, wants it to go back to uh, classic turn-based Final Fantasy, excuse me.
Hmm.
I'm sure they want that too. I mean, I understand. They listen. They wanted an action game. They did the best Final Fantasy action game they possibly could with 16. So I think it would not be far off to suspect that maybe the new Final Fantasy 17 is like, let's go back to our roots and make a classic turn-based game. And then an awesome turn-based game comes out, and they're like, hey, come in and see what we're working on. I
Yeah,
think it is
maybe.
I think it is less a case of I'm gonna guess it's less of a case of Square Enix saying, help us come up with an idea for a new turn-based Final Fantasy
Right.
game, and more like, here, let's show you this proof of concept that we have for a turn-based Final Fantasy game, and what do you think? Give us your
Yeah.
feedback. So, I mean, even if this was just a publicity stunt, honestly, I love the idea of these two these two groups of people coming together and just fanboying out, like you said, and just, we played your game, we love your game. Oh, we played your games too, we love your games. That in and of that, knowing that probably happened, that just makes me happy, even if that's all it was.
Yeah, I'm definitely thinking that there's like two sides of it. You said publicity stunt. I bet for a certain level of Square Enix, it is exactly that. And
Yeah.
that's how they were able to make it happen. And they being, I think, the people making games over at Square Enix who almost certainly legitimately really wanted to talk to these people and wanted to talk and actually wanted to exchange ideas. And so I think it's probably a publicity stunt that is turning into the thing that it claims to have been, where these people are actually exchanging ideas. They really are interested in hearing what the other thinks about making RPGs, because it's circular.
It
The
is.
Square Enix devs are a fanboy of the people making these games, because these people were a fanboy of Square Enix RPGs and made their game modeled after that. So everyone there is going to be interested in talking to one another. And I think you're right that I'm sure this next Final Fantasy is pretty deep in, but I also think that was happening in the shadow of trying to figure out what the future of Final Fantasy looked like, and maybe Final Fantasy 16 didn't work out the way they needed it to in terms of the idea of the action, real-time combat attracting a
Mhm.
huge new audience. That certainly didn't happen. So maybe you're right. They were already saying, let's go back to the basics, or let's go back to our roots. And now they have this team that can come in and maybe not give them pointers, but just say, hey, when we tried this is what we discovered. This is why it worked for us. And
Yeah.
people are going to love to talk about that. There's like this old
Yeah.
concept of a farmer from like Germany and a farmer from France will have way more to say to one another than a banker from France and a farmer from France. And it's like, even though they don't
Yeah.
speak the same language, doing the same job is way more of a connective tissue. And there's not a lot of people making this style of RPG,
Yeah, and
at this scale at least. Go ahead.
well, yeah, and I also have to consider, like, in the timeline of things, they're probably further along with Final Fantasy VII. What's the third one called again?
Yeah,
R
remix. I can't
Remix,
remember.
something like that.
Yeah,
Final Fantasy VII Part 3.
yeah.
That's gonna come out before any Final Fantasy 17
Re-
does.
revision?
But
Is it really revision?
revision,
That's what chat's saying. I don't know.
recidivism,
Oh,
something like that.
there's no name yet. That's right. Everyone keeps guessing, trying to
Yeah.
guess the name. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Final Fantasy VII recidivism, something like that. But yeah. Anyway, that's gonna come out, and that's gonna be another action game. That's not gonna go turn based again. We're past that point with Final Fantasy, with the Final
Maybe, yeah.
Fantasy VII remake, unless they throw it
Oh,
in as like a
yes.
mini game or something.
Yeah. I think I mean, the Final Fantasy VII battle system just doesn't need to change. People are really happy with that. They like it a lot.
Yeah.
I'm
So
sure it has its critics, but overall,
yeah, but that's why I'm thinking that, if they are bringing in the Expedition 33 people, it's going to be for a theoretical Final Fantasy 17
oh,
than
for sure.
anything related to the Final Fantasy 7 remake trilogy.
Yeah, I think
Although, who knows? Maybe they'll show them that too and say, "Hey,
oh,
here's what we're working on. How can we bring back the classic flavor?"
I
Maybe,
bet
or
they will.
and like a mini game or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't Naoki Yoshida that was talking. It was Hamaguchi. So, but this Rebirth director is Naoki Hamaguchi. Is that the right name? I thought that was Yoshida that directed Rebirth, but whatever. Um, Either way, it's like, yeah, you're right. I'm sure that everyone there was like, let's just let them see all these games. They're already signing the NDA. We might as well let them come in here and see this for sure. I think if had it been a couple of years ago, Rachel, where Square Enix was still in that mode where they're like trying to just a bunch of different stuff, and they had 5 different kind of smaller RPG games and strategy RPG games and all kinds of other stuff each year, I would have been like, there's a chance that really they were bringing them in to see some new game or some offshoot or like, hey, give us an idea for a new idea. But they did say recently over at Square Enix that they are sort of pulling back and going to focus on the main stuff. They are definitely going to try to focus on fewer games at higher quality. Well, a lot of publishers are saying that, but that means probably specifically just the big Final Fantasy games. So yeah, I do think that this probably is about Final Fantasy 17, and
Yeah.
it should be. It really should be, because that is a game that I feel like should learn a lot from what happened with Clair Obscur, without a doubt. And again, I think there is a hesitancy from fans of games, especially from Japan, to be like, they don't care what other developers are doing. And I promise you they do. I
Yeah.
promise you they are so deeply interested in what other developers around the world are doing, because they always have
They're
been. It's
fans.
They're fans, they play games. It's always been that way. It's always worked out for them as well, because they are always able to take ideas. I mean, that honestly, that's Japanese culture as a whole, right? They take food from around the world and make it better. That's the whole thing. That's definitely happening here as well, and I think that's a fantastic thing. I'm really looking forward to seeing what this could mean for Final Fantasy 17, even if it's not much, even if it doesn't change a ton. Having a little bit of oh, this feels informed by Clair Obscur will be exciting to see, I think, for a lot of people.
Yeah, and I absolutely and regarding what you said about them, like, kind of narrowing their focus, that actually makes me feel better about it because, then that way I feel like there's a decent chance that when they bring them in, the Clair Obscur developers saw Final Fantasy next, not, here's like some mobile gotcha game that we're making, that is inspired by Expedition 33. Like, that's not what Square Enix is working on. They know better than that by now.
Yep. Zaki in chat says, I'm not worried about what the devs are thinking. I'm worried about leadership. And that's the thing where it's like, yeah, we still just can't know exactly how they are going to try to lead them through this, or figure these things out, or how much rope they will give the studio to kind of to tie things together on their own. But it's clear to me that the people making the game do care about it and are trying to talk to other people in the space to make it make the most sense. Okay, next story. Newzoo data reveals who won out among the Switch 2 third-party launch titles. Newzoo is a data collection firm, an analyst firm. They provide lists like this about, hey, here's what's happening in games, and they I think they collect data using like telemetry from people who like share data with them, but they have a huge database somehow. There's a lot of information that they are able to gather, so this data is usually pretty reliable. It comes from Vic Hood at GI.biz. New data has revealed the best performing third-party titles that launched with the Switch 2 on June 5th, with Deltarune and Fortnite leading the pack. Newzoo product manager Max Otten used the platform's game performance monitor to provide GamesIndustry.biz with an analysis of the digital sales of Switch 2 third-party launch titles. This is for the U.S. eShop across the whole of June 2025. Number one, I think this is in order. Yes, by order of units sold, so not dollar sales. Units sold. Number one was Deltarune, then Hogwarts Legacy, then Fast Fusion, Cyberpunk 2077, Split Fiction, Rune Factory, Guardians of Azuma, Bravely Default, Flying Fairy HD Remaster. Speaking of Square Enix, there, Street Fighter 6, Hitman: World of Assassination, Yakuza 0, Sid Meier's Civilization 7, Kunitsugami: Path of the Goddess, Survival Kids, and Sonic Cross Shadows Generations. I think Deltarune clearly was had launched 3+4. I think the episodes 3 and
Yes.
4 right as the
Yes, I
Switch
think
2
so.
is coming out. So a big new drop, a new game, going to do better than a lot of these games that are ports of other stuff. Also, I think this game is Deltarune is digital only. A lot of these other
Yeah.
games are going to be available at retail, especially Cyberpunk 2077. We heard how well that did. That was going to be
Yes.
primarily on the card, right? Because people were so excited about having that as a physical version. But any standouts in this list to you, Rachel? Anything that this speaks to you?
Well, I mean, and this is not just because we've been talking about Square Enix, but I'm happy to see the Bravely Default series come back because I love the Bravely Default games.
Yes. Yep.
Um, well, I love them, but they hurt me.
Sure.
If you've ever played Bravely Default, if you know, you know. But yeah, so it's. I actually was at a convention not too long ago, and I ran into Bryce Papenbrook, who said that he was not told until the announcement that he plays the main character in Bravely Default, and so he wasn't told until it was announced that they were bringing back Bravely Default, tongue twister.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy to see that on there. I guess Hogwarts Legacy, I'm a little confused though because Newzoo says they don't count the upgrade pack towards units sold. So that means that it's new copies of Hogwarts Legacy Switch 2 specific that
Yeah,
or like specifically on the Switch 2 eShop that is selling really well.
yeah, and I think that's just a case of there was probably a lot of people on Switch One who wanted to play Hogwarts Legacy, heard that the performance was kind of bad, and so they were just saying, "I'm going to wait for the Switch Two." And when they bought the Switch Two, they got it with Mario Kart, and the one game that they got with it was Hogwarts Legacy. I think that's probably how that went down.
I
Um,
mean,
yeah, go
good
ahead.
good for them. That's a whatever, personal sentiment may be about Hogwarts Legacy, that's a good bargain because that's such a big, it's a massive game and it's a established franchise. So that seems like a solid pick along with Deltarune. I mean, honestly, I'm happy for Deltarune. It's always good to see them succeed.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, as Rich Bad at Game in chat points out, Hogwarts Legacy is almost always on deep discount. So
Well,
again,
that
this
too,
is
yeah,
this is unit sales. So people probably will be like, "Oh man, that is a game I've been waiting for, and I can get it for I don't know what discount for that means. $25 probably, maybe a little bit
probably,
less even."
yeah.
Yeah, that's going to move that when people had been waiting for it and knew about it. Fast Fusion, that is I played a lot of that. It's really good. Seeing that number three again, that's a digital only game, so it should be higher on the list. But it's I think
It's a
definitely
racing game,
where
so
yep
yeah.
where it deserves. Yeah. The one that does bum me out, Survival Kids, a game that I played a lot of. That I think is pretty good in a like nostalgic sort of way of like, oh, this is what games used to feel like, kind of small and contained, and just these fun little like little moments of playing through a level and then it's done. Feels like a Game Boy game in a lot of ways, and it's an exclusive, a new game for Switch too, and it's from Konami. It has all these like weird aspects to it, and it just no one played it, no one bought, it. No one even talks about it. I still intend to do something with it. In fact, when everyone's out next week, maybe I'll play some Survival Kids on the website. Everybody, um,
I'll be
yeah,
there.
hell yeah, we'll make it happen.
Now,
Uh,
now that I've got my subscription, I can actually get back into chat and
yeah,
uh,
come hang
and
out with
and
us.
and and yell at you from chat.
Perfect. Yeah. Overall, though, I think this list looks kind of how you would expect.
Yeah.
I,
The
I
fact that an
think
indie game is top of the list is cause for celebration to me.
yeah. I mean, reminds me a lot of the Switch One's launch, where there were a lot of third party, or there were some third party big publisher games, and then the top game for on the eShop probably was Golf Story early on for the Switch
Yes.
One. I can't remember that. I don't
I
think that was
remember
out day
that.
one, but it was out early, and I bet that sold very well compared to a lot of other games that were on the eShop at that time. All right. Dying Light the Beast delayed to September. This is from Darren Bonthus at GameSpot. Developer Techland has announced that Dying Light the Beast has been delayed by several weeks as it'll now launch on September 19th for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. The company says that it'll use the next month to polish the finer details of the game ahead of its new launch date, as it wants to focus on areas like the user interface, gameplay balance, and player animations. It has always been our goal to make Dying Light the Beast the best Dying Light game we've ever released, Techland said, and Techland said in a press statement. To honor this promise, we've made the decision to move the release date to September 19th, 2025, to allow for extra polishing work. We understand that this may be disappointing, but our experience has shown how important the first impression is. With just 4 additional weeks, we can address final details that'll make all the difference between good and great. The game was originally scheduled to come out August 22nd. So it's one of those, very brief delays where
Mhm.
nothing major is going to change. It probably is about cleaning up a few bugs, getting early feedback from maybe mock reviews and people saying, this is really annoying. And then team going, we
Yeah.
could fix that. Should we fix that before we release the game? And like, well, we'll need 4 more weeks. It's going to be something along those lines. My,
Yeah.
my question to you, Rachel, though, is I
Yes.
don't hear anyone talking about the Beast. Is there a contingency of Dying Light fans that are still burning off out of my sight the way that it happens with a lot of games, or do you feel like this one could come and go?
I do think there is Dying Light, I think does still have a contingent of fans. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's as massive as other zombie games we could talk about, but I mean, Dying Light still has a unique unique game feel,
Yes.
to use a term, that I think has not been replicated by other games. I don't think it's ever been really copied in any other uh, game out there. That kind of like that fun, fast paced parkour game and the the day-night mechanic. I don't think it's ever really been replicated, and I think if that's something that you really like, Dying Light's the only game that you can actually play that has that same feeling. So I don't know if I agree with what you say that a 4-week delay is probably only to fix technical challenges. A
Sure.
lot of times when companies say, "Oh, we're going to delay it to polish the game or something," I think, or you're going to, you're delaying it to push it into a more favorable financial quarter.
Yeah.
But that's usually my suspicion, but I think 4 weeks, yeah, I think that's just technical problems. But I
It,
think there is an opportunity there for the
mhm.
niece if they, especially if they do, again, knock wood, if they come out in September, that's a good portion of time because I was really worried about it coming out right before GTA 6 was going to be
Hey, I was literally going to
coming
bring up
out.
the same thing where it's
Yes,
like
exactly.
you could just tell that a lot of these like smaller delays are people going like, wait, hey everyone, the reason we originally chose this date is to get out way before Grand Theft Auto 6, and it's not coming this year. So can we just do a delay to like when we really wanted to put this game out originally? It kind of feels like that might be happening
Yeah.
here, and yeah, I think that makes some sense. Where it's like, yeah, take that time if you can. Also, September maybe is like a better time to launch the game. It's a little bit closer to when people are like, well, hey, I'm rearing back up to get ready for the holiday or whatever. And it's
Mhm.
before October, which is sounds like it's going to be a bloodbath. I can't remember all the games that are supposed to come out in October, but I do remember coming out of Summer Game Fest thinking, man, there were a lot of games announced for that month. And so it's going to be from that time on, it is going to be pretty tough. So get out before that bloodbath and then also give yourself
Right.
a little bit more time. Sounds like a best of both worlds, or at least a really a decent compromise in terms of when they're going to put the game out.
Yeah, well, wait a minute. What's the new date again? I'm just double checking.
It is September
Here.
19th.
Ugh.
Oh boy.
That is, right after Borderlands 4 and right before Silent Hill F.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
still a
oh,
little
well, that's
tricky,
right.
but
The
you are right.
September
I
also
was
got a little busy. Yeah.
I was looking at the list, and we've got Ghost of Yotei, Little Nightmares 3, Pokemon Legends ZA, Ninja Gaiden 4, Outer Worlds 2. So yeah, that's all in October. So
Yeah.
yeah, even that like maybe slightly suboptimal window there. At least they're not directly competing with any huge games that are coming out in October.
Yep, I think you're right though that this game does have its own audience and they will show up for it. I really like Dying Light 1. I did not like Dying Light 2 as much. It just lost some of the magic. The first game got really dark at night, and there's something really cool about that of like, oh, this feels very like scary and realistically dark. And the
Hmm.
second game sort of was like video game dark, if you know what I mean. And
Yeah,
that kind of ruined the sort of fantasy a little bit. The parkour was still fun though. And
yeah.
combat wasn't bad.
Oh, somebody mentioned Digimon Time Stranger. I'm sorry. My husband's a huge Digimon fan, so yeah, let's. I don't want to neglect the Digimon fans.
It's a pretty good apology to the Digimon community. They were going to be mad at you had you not done
I
that. So
I
be
don't want
careful.
I don't want any smoke with the Digimon community.
All right. Elden Ring Nightreign's Duos mode is coming next week. This is from Michael McWhirter at Polygon. Shouts out to Michael McWhirter. Still love seeing his byline. Dude's been doing it for forever. Nightfarers will be able to explore Limveld as a duo, intentionally, that is, in Elden Ring Nightreign starting July 30th. Developer From Software and publisher Bandai Namco announced Friday. Patch 1.02 for Elden Ring Nightreign will add duo expeditions, and those are both capital letter words, so you know that's going to be what the mode's called, offering an alternative to solo play and 3-player expeditions. Patch 1.02 will also include various quality of life UI improvements, including more relics filtering options, Bandai Namco said. This game was built to be a 3-player game. You can play it solo. It doesn't, or at first, it did not really adapt all that much to you playing solo. I think they did a lot of work to do that. And in the meantime, everyone's like, well, what if, I always play with just my buddy. Can we just play duos? And I
Mhm.
think FromSoft, the team said, we didn't even consider that. Why did we even think of that? Everyone's like, yeah, why didn't you think of that? What are you
Why didn't you
talking
think
about?
of that?
And
Listen,
so now it's coming now.
it's hard enough to get one friend to sit down and play video games with me. It's like me and my best friend will sit down, we'll play some co-op together. That's about the extent of my people management skills. Like getting two friends together. I'm sorry, you're asking too much of me at that point.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like that, the amount of social pressure that creates. No, thank you. I don't want to have to convince two people to do something. Um,
We've all got busy schedules. We're all adults with jobs, and some of us have kids. So,
that's right.
like, try to coordinate all our schedules, please. Three people, that's what do you want from me? Do you want blood from a stone?
Yeah, not gonna happen. I really liked what I played in Nightreign. Have not played much more of it. I've been following Brad Shoemaker when he was talking about it. And I think he'll be back to talk about it this week. I have not listened to this week's episode yet. And it's like, oh yeah, man, the people who get into this game sound like they are having a great time, and it really is its own FromSoft experience. It's doing its own thing, and yet it still feels like a FromSoft game in so many important ways. And it's like, yeah, I liked it. I should play more of it. But the idea of kind of going in there and solo queuing is just not where I'm at right now with these kinds of games.
Yeah.
And then it's the reality. Like, we're not joking. Trying to get friends together to play a game like this when, like, I could get interrupted after 30 minutes. Oh, I have to go take care of some kid stuff. Yeah, also not going to happen. So that's going to
I
hold
think
me
it would be
back.
a challenge to get you and I to coordinate, like, let
Yes.
alone like you, me, and Minotti. Please, that's
Yep. I and at the same time, it's like, okay, so duos mode. That sounds cool.
that.
I don't know if
Yeah,
that solves a lot of my problems though. I probably would
that's
still be
fair.
like, hard to get to plan a game night these days. Um,
But still, the nice thing would be that with duos is that if you did get interrupted, Minotti and I could still go.
there
And
you go.
by the way, audience, I call him Minotti because my husband's name is also Mike, so that's just usually how I address
You just,
him.
you could just call him Mitch. That's what everyone around here calls him.
Mitch, we
So
call it
yeah.
that's perfectly fine by me. Just
Uh,
just if I say Mike, like my husband and my supervisor run over, and I'm like, who did you want here?
All right, next story here. Nintendo says Princess Peach and Mario are just good friends. This is from my Nintendo news. Nintendo has clarified on the Nintendo Today app that the lovable Princess Peach and Mario are just good friends, putting to bed fan theories that they are in a relationship or have had a relationship. Did they put out a news story? Did they write in the paper that Mario is still in the friend zone? Is that what happened here today on the Nintendo Today app? Did they blast his ass in public like that? That's incredible stuff.
I I'm struggling here because I'm like, what are you? Then why are you constantly teasing us? I've seen them kiss
Right.
before.
Yeah, the whole thing was like, oh, she's going to give him a kiss if he does the right thing or whatever. And there was a reward of getting a kiss in the wedding scene in Super Mario RPG. And yeah.
History will say they were roommates.
I Nintendo, I don't believe you. I don't care. That's not what's happening. My friends have never baked a cake for me. All right, and I'm pretty sure that cake is a euphemism, or maybe not.
I think yeah. There's I mean do you I mean I love my friends. I'm not sure I'd go to all this trouble to keep rescuing them. If they it's like at a certain point, man. At a certain point, hun, you've done this to yourself.
Yeah, yeah. It's just very funny that they clarified it on the Nintendo Today app that this is how it goes. But I'm sure that wasn't the headline. I did not look up the Nintendo Today app to see what was going on over there. I
I
kind of
mean,
let people just tell me.
well, in the app, they say the exact words are Princess Peach and Mario are good friends and help each other out whenever they can. Now, they don't say they are just good friends.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that leaves a little bit of room for interpretation. And there's part of
Right.
me that also thinks, like, okay, was there a translation thing here with the original Japanese where they're called like partners or something like that? I don't.
My guess would be that there are way deeper and more in-depth conversations about what like the relationship is between Nintendo characters than we could ever imagine, where it's like
Fair.
it could not get published to the Nintendo Today app without absolute clarity about what is happening over there. But,
You
maybe you're
are
right.
correct. Yeah.
All right,
I'm sorry,
finally.
Mario.
Yeah, sorry, buddy. Maybe one day you'll figure out what it's like. Last story here: Killing Floor 3 reviews are out. It has a 74 on OpenCritic right now. This is that it was like a wave-based shooter where you take on waves of enemies or stuff. I've never been a Killing Floor guy, but Ellie Gold over at PC Gamer gave it a 74 out of 100 and said, "Killing Floor 3 is fun, quick to pick up, and builds on what worked for its predecessors. And while there will always be a place for gory multiplayer shooters, they are a dime a dozen, and this one doesn't do a lot to stand out from the rest." Jamie Tugayev at DualShockers gave it a 6.5 out of 10 and said, Mowing down Zed is still fun in principle, but the weak sound design, questionable aesthetic shift, and repetitive gameplay loop make it hard to justify at full price of $40. If Tripwire supports this game as much as it did its predecessors, Killing Floor 3 stands a chance of being good. For now, it isn't there yet. And then Just Play It said, Killing Floor 3 took a step forward, but several steps back. While it succeeded in delivering an enjoyable co-op experience, it's limited strictly to playing with friends. At the same time, it failed to evolve meaningfully. Monsters feel less terrifying, the atmosphere is less gory, and the overall content is too limited to satisfy longtime fans of the series. Ain't that just always the story with these, Rachel, where these games that have had long-term support, Payday 2 or whatever, and then they go make Payday 3, and it's like everyone's like, there's not enough here. You made some changes that I don't like. I'm going back to Payday 2. It doesn't sound like that's going to be the risk here of like everyone's going to rush back to Killing Floor 2, but at the same time, it doesn't sound like people are going to rush to Killing Floor 3. So they are going to have to kind of keep pushing forward with more content. Does that sound right to you?
Sounds about right. They're going to have to support it for a little while before the community's like, okay, yeah, we'll fully make the transition over to Killing Floor 3. I will say I think it's probably receiving slightly better reception than Payday 3 because, as I recall, that game was just
Yes.
dog walked when it came out. If
People
I'm
stepped on
remembering
its
that
throat, I
correctly.
think, and not in a good way.
Nobody
Yeah.
liked that game. That nobody was satisfied with that. And as I recall, Starbreeze is like there's like pandemonium behind the scenes at Starbreeze over that. But
That sounds right. Yeah.
just from what I've heard. But so yeah, I don't think it's going to cause quite that level of panic, but I think they are going to have to stick with it for a little while before people will say like, yeah, let's go play Killing Floor 3. It's going to be a blast.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you're right. Maybe I shouldn't have even invoked Payday 3 because this is not that situation. But it just there are echoes of it. Of we want more. This isn't enough. And then Payday 3 had way worse problems than that for sure. Okay, that does it for the headlines. Let's get to the Bomb 12, everybody. This is a new thing that we're doing over here on Game Mess Mornings. Every Friday, we will have a list called the Bomb 12. This week, it's for the week of July 21st, 2025. As seen on Game Mess Mornings, this is our list. It's going to be a living list of the 12 games that matter right now. We're going to get informed by what you all send me. I put out a call for, hey, what's your game right now on social media? It was a Google form. Everyone filled it out, got a ton of results. More than 1,000 people responded. I just kind of, I sorted, I processed the data, and then we added a little sugar on top, and it gave us this result. So we're going to start from 12 and work our way up. And number 12 is a game that I had not heard of until I did this, which may be one thing that this list might be useful for in the future. He Is Coming, which looks like a little tactic, a turn-based game that is with like lo-fi 1-bit visuals or 2-bit visuals, and it's got a really cool look to it. Then we go to number 11, Street Fighter 6.
I never heard of that either.
Yeah, it seems pretty cool. I've been meaning to check it out now. Number 11, Street Fighter 6. A lot of people still playing this. I was not surprised, but it's like, man, there are people who this is still their shit. So this is going to stay on the list, I think, for a little bit. Blueprints at number 10. Now, this is not a Game of the Year list, everybody, but it's the games that matter right now. Elden Ring Nightreign at number 9. Number 8 is Cyberpunk 2077. Number 7 is Balatro. Number 6, Final Fantasy 14. You people are still sickos, and you're just out there playing that nonstop. Number 5, Monster Train 2. Yep, we got one right there. Monster Train 2 at number 5. Number 4 is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4. Number 3, still Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It is.
I appreciate that that's in third place.
When I was getting the feedback and getting the numbers and stuff like that, it was just like, oh yeah, this is a game that people are just going to keep picking up throughout the rest of this year. It's one of the reasons I think it stands a really good chance of being Game of the Year at stuff like the Keeleys. Number 2, Death Stranding 2, and number 1, Donkey Kong Bonanza. And that's the Bomb 12 from Giant Bomb. Thank you, everybody, for our first ever, and we're really excited about this. It's a fun little thing to do. If you remember, like reading video game magazines growing up, and they would have like their top 10 lists or whatever, top 20 lists, top 30 lists, and it was always like what is this list? And like it would almost very kind of invariably be the thing I would turn to first in like Game Pro or whatever. Well, we're going for the same thing here, everybody. I will put out another call for what is your game right now over the weekend. Look out for that. It'll be on Blue Sky. We'll throw it into the Discord as well. Looking forward to hearing what your feedback will be. And look, it's total request live rules here, everybody. If you want to try to game the system, go tell all your friends to, hey, vote for this game. Maybe something cool will happen. Maybe you can get the New Kids on the Block put in on the Bomb 12. We'll see.
I appreciate
all
that
right.
Belatro's still on there.
Yep. Yes. Belatro is one of those ones that also feels like this, like that. It's in the same zone as Final Fantasy 14, where there are people who are like, yeah, this is just my game right now. We'll see. You know, the rules for how things get counted might change in the future. And I ain't telling anybody how it's getting calculated. This is proprietary tech over here. All right. I think we should also point out, not going to be doing poll questions on Friday. So that'll be a kind of a through the week sort of thing. And then the Bomb 12 will cap out every week. That's how we're going to end everything.
Okay.
All right. With that out of the way, Rachel Kaser, why don't you tell people where they can find you on the internet, what you have going on, all that good stuff.
Okay, well, you can find me at gamesbeat.com. It is now fully gamesbeat.com. It is no longer venturebeat.com/gaming. It is now gamesbeat.com, and you can check out our subscription service, which includes an exclusive newsletter from me. And I forgot to mention this earlier. We do have a free tier. We have a free access tier if you want to join, and you get access to some of our posts and some of our some of our exclusive content. Not all of it, but I don't expect anyone to pay $900 yearly if they don't want to. So, but yeah, we have a free tier if you want to check in and see what I'm doing. You can also find me on social media. I'm getting back after I've been sick for the last little while, so I haven't been posting very frequently, but I am feeling better and I'm getting back out there. So you can also find me on TikTok, where I do a daily gaming news show. I'm getting back into doing a daily gaming news show, and we now have a GamesBeat TikTok where I'm posting fun videos during the week there as well.
Excellent. Yeah, it's just been awesome seeing you guys thrive on your own, and really excited for the future of GamesBeat. And a big part of that is this is the work you do, Rachel. So thanks for being on the show with us today.
Oh, thank you.
Really appreciate it. I did this. I did do it a little bit out of order. I think the plan was I should have actually wrapped up yesterday's poll question. So let's do that real quick, Jan.
Sure.
Do you think a Nintendo Direct is happening next week? Yes or no were the options. I'm on yes. I'm saying yes. I'm pretty confident it will happen, even though, again, I haven't heard about it. Just the way some friends are talking about it, it's like, yeah, I believe you guys. The results, though, are 50% to 50%, completely split right down the middle. Although when I look at the bar graph, it does look like yes is slightly ahead of no. So maybe it's 50.1% versus 49.9%. We'll see, though. I don't blame anyone for not getting their hopes up, right, Rachel? It's at this point, so if it doesn't happen, it's going to be a relatively big disappointment. Although a July Direct always just feels like, wait, should there be one in July? It's dead of summer. Does anyone going to care? I'm going to care, especially if we get Metroid Prime 4 release date.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, anytime Nintendo rings the bell, my ears perk up.
Yep. All right. We got your plugs. Let's say thank you one more time, Rachel. We really appreciate you coming on the show. Let's also say thank you to everybody for watching and listening. Giant Bomb is going to have plenty more today. We're going to be back with UPF in a little bit, where we are going to play Mario Party, Jamboree Live, plus Jamboree TV, or whatever the hell the goddamn game is called. I'm sure Dan will find the most painful way for us to play that. So definitely tune in. That is happening. I'm going to check the thing. Yeah, that's happening at 3 p.m. So look out for that, everyone. In the meantime, once again, thank you, Rachel. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.